Hello, welcome to another episode of Pocket Finance with Umlala. Today we're going to be talking about goal setting, specifically financial goal setting. Now it's still early days in 2015, so if you haven't already done so, this is a good time to set those goals. But before you set your financial goals, you need to first know what stage in the financial life cycle you're in. Either you're in the accumulation stage, consolidation stage, or retirement stage. You also need to take the financial intelligence test. So the first thing to do is, if you haven't already done this, please watch our previous episode. If you have, well done, you're on the right track. So what is a goal? Essentially, there's a big difference between a goal and a resolution. A resolution would be to say, I would like to open a savings account, or I'd like to pay off my debt in 2015. But a goal is basically, as defined by Napoleon Hill, a dream with a deadline. Now your goal must be smart, but we'll go into that later. There are three types of goals essentially. There's short-term goals, which is between 0 to 1 year. Mid-term goals, which is basically year 1 to 5 years. And long-term goals, which is basically 5 years upwards. So ideally, you should have all three types of goals. You should have short-term goals, the things you want to achieve in the first year. You should have long-term goals, what you like to do in 5 years. And you should also have, those are mid-term goals, and you should also have long-term goals, what you want to achieve 5 years upwards. So basically, your goals should be smart. It's important. It must be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So specific, when you say specific, it must be precise. It must be clearly defined. So I would like to pay off my debt is not a specific goal. However, saying I would like to pay off 100% of my 1 million naira debt, or 500,000 naira out of my 1 million naira debt in 2015 is specific. It must also be measurable. So for instance, it should have a deadline. So you shouldn't just say 2015. You should say, I would like to pay off my 500,000 naira debt by the 31st of December 2015. Your goal should also be achievable. Now, if you have a debt of 100 million naira, you cannot expect to pay it off in 2 months. That's if it's 5 times, your debt is 5 times more than your monthly income. So you must be achievable. Like I said, it must also be realistic, which is similar to achievable. And like I said earlier on, it must be time-bound. So your goals must be smart. What kind of goals should you consider setting in 2015? One of them is, like I've already talked before, is you need to pay off your debt. You cannot go on a journey. It's like carrying debt is like going on a journey and carrying a heavy load or heavy burden. You will get tired along the way. It doesn't allow you to think. You cannot go that far. So first of all, please, if you're in debt, try to get out of debt in 2015. Another goal you should consider setting is creating an emergency fund. Life happens. What if you lose your job? What if there's a nationwide strike? You never know what can happen. It's important to set up an emergency fund. Another goal you should consider setting is planning for retirement. The best time to start is now. Don't think you're too young. Don't wait till you're older. Have a retirement savings account, which is different from a pensions fund account. If you're working, ideally your employer should have opened a pensions fund account for you. However, if they haven't, to make sure they do. Aside from your pensions, you should also have a retirement savings account, which is voluntary, so you're putting extra money aside. Another goal you should set is to give more. That's why the likes of Bill Gates are giving. There's more fulfillment in giving. It's not just about getting. Give, and the more you give, it's like when you open your hands to give, then you can receive. But if you're holding on to what you have, it's unlikely that you're going to receive more. It's like a farmer. When you sow seeds, then you have a harvest. But if you keep your seeds, you cannot reap a harvest. One other financial goal to set is to create a budget. It's important to budget. But what you need to do if you don't know how to budget is you can go on my blog and you can read articles on budgeting. Other types of financial goals you set include the following: start a business, buy land, home acquisition, set up an education fund, buy a car, leave a legacy, renovations, health insurance. Those are some of the goals you should set. Now, once you have set goals, it's important to then plan. So the plan is basically your action steps. How are you going to achieve your goal. So essentially your plan should be flexible and also be liquid. So let me give you an example. You want to pay off your debt of 500,000 in 2015. Your plan would be 1, to start budgeting, 2, to reduce your spending. Those are some of the steps you would take towards paying off your debt. So that is very important. Now, before we go, let me leave you with this very important quote. An anonymous quote actually says, "Where there are no goals, neither will there be significant accomplishments. There will only be existence." And I know you just don't want to exist. You want to achieve financial goals in your life. So make sure you set those goals. And one other thing you need to do is review. Go over your goals to see if you've achieved them over the year. Try and do this every month, every quarter, or half yearly. Thank you very much for watching. Until next episode, stay blessed.